My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
G'day everyone, welcome to the stunning Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. It's the sixth and penultimate round of the Shannons Nationals. Cracking weekend of racing, and gee, this has been a good series this year. Gary O'Brien is alongside me. These cars are rolling up. These conditions though, Gary, are very, very difficult because it's a half dry, half wet racetrack. So how on earth do you plan what you're going to do with tyres in this one?
Well, that's the question I was going to ask you. I wasn't sure whether they're going to run dries or wets. I would suspect that there'll be a bit of a gamble whichever way went.
Now we're missing Michael Anderson from Grid 3. Finished on the podium yesterday. Terrific drive, the Bathurst local, and this is why. So this is on their outlap from the garage. So the bonnet pins have come undone on the Kenwood Homes Falcon, and he cannot see where he is going. So that's a massive drama for Michael, who was brilliant yesterday. Really, really good drive to third. Let's check the grid. It's Tyler Greenbury starting from pole thanks to his win yesterday. Jack Smith from second, championship leader, and edging that margin away in front of his nearest rivals. Anderson and McCorkadale due to go from the second row of the grid. Anderson will start instead from pit lane. The teammates Policena and Kane are next, and it's Smurden and Page from the fourth row of the grid with Gary Collins. And it was supposed to be Bradley Neal starting from 10th. Unfortunately, his car not firing. That will give a free kick to Jordan Boys, who was due to start this one from 12th place, directly behind the Heritage Class runner. It's round 4 of the Kumho Tyre Australian V8 Touring Car Series. Race 2, the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Greenbury on pole and Smith alongside him. It's a good start for the Eggleston Commodore. Nice launch from the blue and black Holden. Better start for Chris Smurden further back in the field. The Irwin Tools car launches and splits the two Policena cars as he runs down to turn 1. He's going to go to third place. The former champion has got a very good start. Meanwhile, the two that battled it out yesterday are in an arm wrestle to the southern loop, but it's Tyler Greenbury who just gets the car stopped and turned into turn 1.
Chris Smurden up the third spot in the first two corners of this race in the Stone Brothers Falcon, as he trails these two leaders down for the first time through turn 3. They go down to 4. Then we've got John McCorkadale in 4th spot and the two Policena Motorsport cars following in behind them.
So wet weather Kumhos, but this is a track that will dry quickly, and they will be in a world of pain if it continues to dry at the end of this race as their tyres overheat. Look at Policena sliding around, struggling to put 650 horses to the ground in that ex-Tasman Motorsport Commodore. What a start Chris Smurden though, and really threaded the eye of the needle under the bridge and rocketed himself up to third place. But a great start for Greenbury, pulling away as they go past the hay shed.
Both of them sliding through that corner too. So the grip levels aren't great, you might say, at this stage.
No, there's not a whole lot of it, and they're searching for it. They will be over the course of this race, but really even start between those two Holdens on the front row of the grid. Perhaps just that second phase for Greenbury. The car just, as he plucked second and third gear, it just pulled away enough for him to take that point into turn 1. So lap 1 of 11 about to be complete. We'll continue to track the progress of Michael Anderson through the field. Jordan Boys is up to 8th, by the way, in the Image Racing Falcon. We expect him to be somewhere near the top 4 or 5 by the end of this based on his pace so far. So one down, it's Greenbury, the official margin 1.2 seconds, with Smurden third, under pressure now from John McCorkadale. Jim Policena and Michael Kay next, then Stephen Page, Boys 8th, then Gary Collins, noted historic touring car racer from these parts, and then we're waiting for Michael Anderson to come round. Started from pit lane and is a long way back yet to cross the control line. So he's got the job to do, the former Group N touring car racer. More on that later. This is the fight for third place. And it's got John McCorkadale versus Chris Burton.
Yeah, both Stone Brothers cars in their origin, but one certainly a later model, the FG ahead of the BF Falcon. Of course, Jim Policina and Michael Caine in behind him. Now, I did notice that I have a feeling that they're on their dry tyres, but if you look out behind us, it's very dark. I'm just a bit worried that if you're on dry tyres and we get a downpour before this race is over, it'll be very, very interesting.
Well, either way, if they're on wets and it dries, they're in strife. If they're on slicks and it rains, they're in more strife. Yeah, the weather this weekend has been truly remarkable and changes quickly than I change my mind about what I want for dinner. So this is going to be real interesting stuff, and windscreen wipers for Jack Smith as he heads down into MG as this fight continues. So McCorkadale's been really in good touch this weekend and pretty happy about the performance of the dial before you dig forward. That's the ex James Courtney, was originally in Gerald Wen colours in the Supercar main game. Look at Greenbury hanging on. They're all sliding round turn 12. They're passengers at the moment as the rain comes again at Phillip Island.
Very treacherous conditions by the look of things out there, and certainly not where you want to be in a fight for position as well as McCorkadale, who's promised so much this year, and I think this weekend he's finally delivering.
I tell you what, these two are not letting the leaders pull away in this, and if anything, Chris Murden is catching Tyler Greenbury and Jack Smith, and the fastest man on the racetrack last time round was John McCorkadale. He was 1.2 seconds faster than the leader. So they're hauling time out of Greenbury and Smith in front. We're not sure what tyres everyone is running. Have some taken a gamble to run a wet, or have they taken a gamble to run a slick and might be paying for it now in these changeable conditions?
And they're galloping up that gap between second and third spot at the moment, and gets the tail out of the corner. And McCorkadale, for a minute there, looked like he was going to pounce on third position. But Jack Smith certainly in a deal of pain there, trying to hold on to his mount at the moment.
Chris Burden won the first ever Kumho Series race held at Phillip Island back in 2008. Now McCorkadale around the outside, the hay shed, thank you very much, and a little bit of contact between the two Fords, but they were very gentlemanly, the two of them, and a little bit of racing room given, and they managed to come out the other side, which is more than we can say for some of the cars this weekend in other series. Now down the inside of Jack Smith. The championship leader needs to be careful in this scenario. He's got a very, very nice points lead. It's almost 100 points after yesterday's P2, but he cannot afford to find himself in a bunker because Greenbury will start hauling margin out of his championship lead. But look at the way they're driving these cars, Gary. Absolutely on fingertips on the steering wheel, dancing their cars through turn 12 in really difficult conditions.
It looks like Smurden's got more pace than Smith, and McCorkadale's got more pace than the pair of them.
Well, I think he's got more pace than all of them. And Smith feels the need to defend on the run into turn 1. So go back way back to 2008. Chris Smurden got pole in an AU Falcon. It's an ex-SBR car, if memory serves. And then he went on to win the first 2 of 3 races that weekend in 2008. The early stages of the Kumho Tyre Australian V8 Touring Car Series.
Now it's a 4-way dice because they've hauled in Greenbury as well as they head down on this, the 4th of 11 laps. And I don't know if they can keep this up all the time, but they're all going now for a passing move. Smith down the inside.
Wow.
Half a car there.
Greenbury was hanging on there, absolutely hanging on to try and get it turned in. Contact between the Fords. McCorkadale hip and shouldered out wide by Chris Smurden. And the leader's almost off the road at Siberia. This is some kind of motor race.
And Michael Caine's buying into this argument as well.
What a race. And Michael Caine has hauled this group in. Let's have another look at what went on down at Honda just a few moments ago. So Greenbury struggled to get it stopped, understeered wide. Smith thought he could pounce, couldn't. McCorkadale tried to go the other side of Spurden, and nothing malicious in that, was just forced a little bit wide and then decided not to get out of the throttle, and Spurden found himself with a BF Falcon parked in his left rear door.
Still, it's very tight up the front here. Nothing between the top 4, and Caine is working his way onto the back of this as well.
Greenbury with a great run out of 11, but Smith had dramas and he got gobbled up here. McCorkadale with a really good run, so they all checked up behind Jack Smith, and McCorkadale grabbed the both of them. So he's gone to P2 now, and he's hunting down the race leader. This is terrific stuff. and the conditions are getting worse. So Greenbury's held on for 5 laps now. Sliding this car around.
Michael Caine's the one to look out for now. He's right in this battle as well. Top 5. Jim Policina nowhere near this lot at the moment, but that can change in a lap the way these guys are going at it now.
McCorkadale, great run out of the Southern Loop, goes to the lead. Yet to win a Kumho Series race. Graduate from Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Now Smurden down the inside of Smith, who's in trouble. He gathered it up, but he was very, very wide through turn 3, and now there's contact. Greenbury's got damage. Smith up the inside of Smurden. This is British Touring Car Championship spec stuff.
And McCorkadale is checking out as quick as he can. He doesn't want to be mixed up in this little melee now for second spot.
Here's the look. So Jack Smith did a brilliant job through 3, just gathering the car up and not firing it off the road. Might have actually found a bit of grip out there on the go-kart line, off the usual racing line. He got down the inside of Smurden, and Greenbury copped the whack for his efforts as well. So let's reset. There's 6 laps to go this time by, and it's now John McCorkadale who leads the way in the BF Falcon.
Jordan Boys, for those who are wondering, is in position 8. Hasn't made up the ground we thought he would. And Michael Anderson is in 10th behind Gary Collins. So neither of those two have really come on strong as we thought they would, but I dare say that's to do with the race conditions at the moment. Certainly not suitable for anyone on slick tyres.
Oh, this is fascinating stuff. McCorkadale is actually punching out really good sector times at the moment, so the track might just be coming back to them a little bit. Smurden goes around at MG, all on his own, spun the car. So out of P2, that elevates Michael Caine to 2nd, and Jack Smith back up to 3rd. So that was all on his own there, Chris Smurden. He's rejoined, but he's rejoined behind Jim Policina, so drops back to what will be now P6 for the former series champion.
So much happening in this race, and replay here of what happened down at MG. Got the tail out just a little bit too much off the, if there was a dry line, he wasn't on it, and just pirouettes the FG Falcon around as Michael Caine seizes the opportunity to get into 2nd.
And word through last lap. This will be the final lap of the motor race. Well, this is terrific stuff. A Ford Falcon BF hasn't won here since Ryan Simpson got the broom out and swept the 2013 round at Phillip Island. It's been FG Falcons and Eggleston Motorsport Commodores since then. He's got just a few Ks to go. His margin 3.1 seconds. And the man from country New South Wales who worked so hard, little family race team, a little team that could. They raced in Porsches and succeeded there. Took the jump into the Kumho Series with an older model car. And his dad and his hard-working little team. He's had Dean Canto working with him this year, doing some driver coaching and engineering, and they've found a lot in this Falcon and in his driving too. And John McCorkadale, this is going to be a very popular victory. He's confident enough to slide the car round turn 12. A maiden win in the V8 Touring Car Series on Kumho tyres in really treacherous conditions. John McCorkadale wins race 2 here at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Michael Caine, personal best result in 3rd place. And Jack Smith, what a performance to bring this car home. Spent most of the race on the lock stops, sliding it around, but he'll get home in 3rd place, and that could be a championship-defining drive for the young man from Brad Jones Racing. It's a win for John McCorkadale. Michael Caine 2nd, both personal best results in the Kumho Series for those two drivers. Jack Smith 3rd, Chris Smurden 4th, and Tyler Greenbury was next, and Jim Policina, Stephen Page, Jordan Boys, Gary Collins, and Michael Anderson rounded out the top 10. The grid has McCorkadale and Smith 1 and 2, Greenbury and Caine 3 and 4, then Smurden and Policina, Anderson and Page 7th and 8th, with Collins and Boys going from the 5th row of the grid, Brad Neal and Lee Moran rolling out the field. 12 cars to take the starter in this one. 15 laps the distance, Kumho Series at Phillip Island away, and a nice start by McCorkadale and the dial before you dig Falcon, but Smith's 2nd phase was better, and that car got away very nicely, and he'll lead the field down into turn 1. Someone slow away, that was Collins in the ex-Kelly Racing Jack Daniels entry. Smoke a bit there from McCorkadale's car. Saw that on the formation lap as he was going past the hay shed, so we'll monitor that. Greenbury and behind, contact there. Page and Policina come together down at turn 2. It's very, very wet offline off the racetrack, and Jim will just be able to continue on. And that was 2 into 1, didn't go into the southern loop.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Smith out in front. Greenbury's got past McCorkadale into second. Kane there following those two. Chris Smurden didn't quite get the start he got earlier today, but we have him with Anderson right on his back.
Going to get a look now at what happened down at turn 2, so watch to the right of screen. Just the back of shot there as they barrel into left-hander. Oh, I like the inside there, Page. They were side by side. Gee, Greenbury's thing is hooked up the run into turn 2. Continues to apply the pressure to Jack Smith. 34.71 for Smith, fastest lap of the race on his first flyer last time round. He was a tenth quicker than Greenbury, but what we saw in the race yesterday was that Greenbury's car was better and the final sector of the racetrack, so the run out of MG through turns 11 and 12, his car was getting the power down really well. Those long sweeping corners, the Eggleston Commodore was great. Jack Smith's car had an advantage in the first part of the lap and was able to pull a margin away. It resulted in a close battle and no one was able to do any overtaking, and they ran very, very close to the line. But let's see how that plays out, bearing in mind they've got plenty more laps to do in this one.
You can see it again here that Smith's car's better in the first half of the lap, and Greenbury gets him back in the second half, particularly that drive out of MG corner where that power down on the edge car seems to be a bit stronger. And we're seeing it again here. But the noise in the background you may have heard just a little while ago was Jim Policina leaving the pits with a tyre change. He is now a lap down in 9th position.
Jack Smith using all the road, as you mentioned last lap, the exit of 11. So these two continue at it. One of these a main game team in Brad Jones Racing, gearing up for an enduro campaign. The other most successful team in Super 2 competition in Eggleston Motorsport, and two-time champions in the Kumho series as well. Look at the things loaded up through turn 1. They would have seen these dry conditions and gone full attack on their setup. And it'd be interesting, some tyre conservation over the course of this race. They've all got good condition rubber for this, so I reckon they've thrown everything they can to get performance out of these cars, and it's showing in lap speed as well, because Jack Smith last time round did a 33.6. It's only 4 tenths off the lap record here at Phillip Island, which was set by Gary Jacobson 12 months ago, almost to the day, in the car that Michael Anderson is now running. Anderson's continued, by the way. He's P4. There's the Kenwood Holmes car. He's been chased by Michael Caine, who is 5th.
Yeah, those two were in the reverse position a couple of laps ago. Anderson not only got away from Smurden, but he's now past Caine and currently sits in 4th position. So can he catch McCorkadale? At the moment, he's not as fast as McCorkadale. McCorkadale's about a tenth of a second per sector quicker, and consolidating that 3rd position.
Yeah, and at the same time, McCorkadale giving up about 6 tenths, 7 tenths a lap at the moment to the leaders. So he's just sort of in a race of his own in P3 at the moment. But if he finishes where he is now, he'll grab 3rd for the round overall, which will be a huge accomplishment for the family race team, McCorkadale Motorsport. Good lap for Smith that time round. Pulled a little bit more of a margin over Tyler Greenbury. So strong in the first sector. Again, we're seeing this BJR car through turn 1, turn 2, and that run down to Honda. Exceptionally strong. Really good through turn 2, where there's so much time to be made. It's a difficult corner. Fortunate enough to spend some time on the MR driver development sim up in Queensland, and actually about 25 laps in a electronic version of a supercar. Greenbury's off the road in a big way, and spears across the road and clips Jack Smith. And Jack Smith is out.
McCorkadale takes the lead. We'll have a safety car for sure now. Anderson up the 2nd, Caine 3rd, but that was huge.
Big damage to the front of the Edge Designer Holmes Commodore. And for the 2nd round this year at Phillip Island, race 3 has not been kind to Tyler Greenbury. So let's have a look. Let's see where this started. Oh, is that Tyre?
Well, he was on the brakes, that's for sure. Yeah, it looks like a tyre's gone down.
So
Right front.
the right front's the loaded side of the car through turn 3, which is a very, very quick corner. So that's it from the other angle. Oh, Jack Smith is brutally unlucky there. It was the rear wheel and the rear bar clipped by Greenbury, but it was enough to break the rear suspension by the looks of it on the Brad Jones Racing Commodore. There was nothing he could do about that. So we saw an incident down there a couple of years ago in the Supercars race here. It left James Courtney with a broken leg. It's an enormous crash, and it's just one of the risks. It'd be very, very difficult to protect against that kind of thing down at that corner. The lights are indeed out, and John McCorkadale will lead the field around for, we're not sure yet, we're waiting on an answer from race control as to how many laps there will be.
And this is now underway again. McCorkadale leads him out on the straight with Anderson tucked in behind him, and then Kane and Smurden already gapping the next 3 cars.
I reckon about 3, maybe 4 laps left in this race. So there's 4 minutes and then a lap extra for time certainty in this one. So there's plenty of racing to go, plenty of opportunity for Michael Anderson to put a move on and get a victory. McCorkadale can afford to finish second in this race, probably even third, and still win the round, though there is a bigger points weighting in race 3, the longer race at a Kumho Series round. It pays 60 points to win compared to 40 for the other 2. So we're back underway. Falcons 1 and 2 and 4 with Chris Smurden in behind. And Chris has been fiery this weekend, very, very fast. The former series champion. A locked Kumho for Anderson. The run into Honda, and it's a side-by-side battle with the race leader into Siberia.
Kane looking for a way around as he runs a little bit wide at 5, almost invites Smurden to go up the inside of him there. These 4 are running line astern. They've already put a gap back to Page and Collins and Policina, who is a lap down, of course.
Cast your mind back to Queensland Raceway, our last round of the Kumho Series. Michael Kane and Chris Smurden spent most of that weekend banging into each other. It was an extraordinary fight. They had a good laugh about it after the weekend, but she was pretty serious while they were on track. Now the sheep station's just a little bit bigger because they're running 3rd and 4th on the road and fighting for a spot on the round podium. So this is a replay of turn 4 after that restart.
Lock up by Edison, and he hit the back of McCorkadale as well. We can see that bonnet's copped further damage after coming unglued at the start of the previous race.
He's on here, Michael Anderson. Great run out of turn 12 in the toe of John McCorkadale and goes down the inside to grab a lead, or is it not? McCorkadale holds on. He's got the right line into the southern loop. A slight lock up on the inside, and they continue to battle side by side. McCorkadale holds on, holds off the advances of Michael Anderson, and holds on to his race lead for at least another corner or 2.
And there's also the same sort of shenanigans going on right behind him between Kane and Smurden, very tight.
Here goes Anderson down the inside, great move, under brakes at Honda and got it done. Kane's off the road, Smurden goes through and grabs 3rd spot. So that position changes hands as well. We've got a new race leader. Michael Anderson now in front. Could we see another stat added to the record book of a first-time winner in the Kumho Series? What a weekend it has been.
And Anderson now moving away to consolidate that front-running newer model car, of course, would be the trick car to have here out of the 2.
1 lap. This is the last lap. Down to MG. What a weekend of racing for the Kumho Series. And we're just adding names to the record book now. The title contenders out in a big crash at turn 4. John McCorkadale won his first race earlier on today. Now it's Michael Anderson's turn. What a performance. He wins for the first time in Kumho Series. And for John, you can pop the McCork because he's won the round. The 69 Ford takes Phillip Island. Michael Anderson wins race 3. John McCorkadale was second and wins the round. Michael Kane third, an exceptional weekend. They might have a look at that bump and run there with Chris Smurden, I wonder. Stephen Page, P5, Gary Collins next, and from there on in, walking wounded and DNFs with Policina and that big crash with Smith and Greenbury not getting to the line.
There's more to come after the break as we look back on all the action from last year's Honeywell Garrett International Drift Challenge.